Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. I heard you say rock and roll. It's true. You said it like exactly in this interview. Exactly my experience. That you could figure out how to play things, make them sound like the record. And rock and roll comes from people that were incompetent at that and had to make up their own shit.
Yeah,
that's 100% my reality, dude.
The,
I would try to learn songs,
the difference between...
and then I couldn't and I would just. It would be easier to just try to start making up my own thing than to keep fucking Yeah,
that's why the kids were sitting there listening to the fucking Yes and going, I can't do this, and then then the Ramones come along. It's like
everybody could do it.
I could do that.
Yeah.
They could do that with Eddie Cochran and with Chuck Berry, too.
Yeah.
They couldn't play, some of that surf shit was too hard, even.
Uh-huh. Who's that? Who's the surf guitar guy?
Well, Dwayne Eddy and
And there's somebody else.
Well, Dick Dale.
Dick Dale, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, he was impossible, man. The guy was a master.
Dude, that shirt is awesome.
Yeah, I like it. Everyone's getting into skulls.
It's got skull. Well, skulls are my favorite.
Yeah,
I probably got 4 of them tattooed on my body.
Got a ring skull. Got a skull on my cross.
Mm-hmm. What kind of shirt is that?
It's a Robert Graham. I hate to say.
Why is that bad?
Well, because it's so where I got it?
Where? Barney's?
At that ridiculous, mall, whatever it is, on 59th Street at Columbus Circle.
Mm-hmm. A good one.
That's way
high
expensive.
Fashion. That's good.
Fashion.
Yeah, but dude,
listen, they had a sale, man.
Buy some nice shit like that, and you have it for years, probably.
Yeah. It's got skulls, man.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Shirt with skulls.
I don't think.
No,
That's the only reason I want money is to just be able to go into Barney's and fucking go ape shit.
I mean, the other option there is the Ed Hardy looking shit,
Yeah.
Because a lot of Europeans shop there and they want that.
And they have the Ed Hardy stuff?
Yeah, they think that.
Is that still around?
It's that look,
With the logo?
Well, no, but that look. It looks like the shirt is a tattoo.
Oh yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I go into Starbucks. There's it's empty.
Oh, is this happening now?
We're
just riffing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're already gone.
Okay, so you went to you got me coffee. Thank you, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming here.
Got me a blonde
Jimmy
roast.
Vivino. Is that how I say your name? Jimmy Vivino?
Jimmy
That's
V.
right. Jimmy V is fine. Yeah.
Well,
Levon nicknamed me Jimmy V because Vivino was not in the Arkansas phone book. He just was not there.
He couldn't get his head around it.
Vivino.
When did you play with Levon Helm?
Oh, many years.
Many years?
Well, we can get into that, but first tell me about Starbucks.
Okay, so I go in there real quick. Just so it's probably a bad rant, but it's so there's 6 people working there. It's empty. I go and and I'm in kind of a rush because I don't want to keep you waiting. I hear that you're already here, but even though I was dead on time,
yes,
as always, I love being on time. I really do. Went to morning yoga too already. 8 a.m. I had my alarm set for 6:30. Boom. Semen retention. Anyway,
but you did it in tie-dye?
Well, no, I got dressed.
You went
up.
home and got dressed for me?
No, I brought this in my bag.
Well, you know what?
So
I was going to just slob out, but I knew that Ehud was here.
Yeah.
And I know that he's probably videotaping everything.
He's going to videotape it. You look great, by the way.
He's got a GoPro in his glasses or something.
I know.
Spy some James Bond shit. Anyway.
And I took a cold shower at yoga already.
6 people are in there.
6 employees. It's packed with employees. I order the coffee. The 2 cold brews with cream.
They added sugar, mine is sweet.
And they added sugar. They got it wrong.
Yeah.
And plus, and then the blonde one with cream, and then I got my 6-shot latte. I have a heavy-duty caffeine addiction happening. And then so...
Caffeine society.
Yeah, and then so the guy writes in heavy cream on the cold brews. I was like, I didn't say heavy. I just said with cream. He goes, oh, and then so he has to re-enter the whole thing. And then the coffee, 2 of the coffees come, and then this lady walks in, and then she orders something. Then she goes to the milk thing. She goes, all the milks are empty. There's 6 employees, Anyway, see, I know this rant sounds terrible, but then the cold brew's not working. They're like, oh, the cold brew's. I'm like, hey, I'm in a hurry, so if the cold brew, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Anyway, end of the rant.
First world problems.
No, I know. You can't come. This is terrible to complain about this.
Oh, man. Oh,
okay, I know.
Wait, in 2 days, only 2 days after Thanksgiving. You're totally unthankful again.
I know. It's early.
You're right back,
Listen,
man.
No,
You're in New York.
I'm grateful,
right
but
back.
I'm just saying, here's the point of the rant is AI is going to take over, and it's our own damn fault because we got to dig deeper.
Yeah.
Fill the milk up. Anyway.
Well, but
I know that job sucks.
When
so
AI takes my rant, okay? When AI takes over.
Yeah, I don't want AI to take over.
No, you'll have to push the button.
Yeah.
You'll have to get the coffee.
I know.
And you will pay just as much as if somebody was being paid to help. The thing I hate most is...
I shouldn't have made that rant.
No. Mine is like when I go to the supermarket.
I'd be lazy.
And they tell me, check yourself out. But I don't get a discount for doing the work.
Right.
I know.
It's like, wait, first of all, you're putting someone out of a job.
I resist the checking myself out.
Yeah, there's no jobs because AI is machines.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to work.
Well, they won't be able to. Well, apparently, too, actually, they're going to, AI is going to start making art. And put artists out of business.
But
because
we do it with
AI is gonna make soulful art because it's gonna
it's already fucked the music business.
I know.
Beyond well, the thing is there's a generation that doesn't remember that you could make money from residuals and from radio play and from all that, from record sales. And you would sign a contract that would be like with Lucifer, but you'd still get a nice chunk of the pie.
You'd still be able to sing for your supper.
Well, I mean, the only good thing about now is that more bands are out playing live because
that's true.
They're not sitting home collecting mailbox money like they used to. So, the band, even when Steely Dan had to go out, and you just had Bob on, right? Night Bob. When Steely Dan had to go out and work because residuals dried up, those guys never toured,
Right.
And it's like that now. So all of a sudden you can see anyone you grew up listening to pretty much in an 80s revival.
Yeah, I guess Dylan's doing a bunch of nights at the Beacon right now.
He just did, yeah. I was going to call I have a lot of friends in that camp, and I was going to call some of my friends in that camp and go over and say hello. And then I remembered it's either going to be wonderful, just seeing him at soundcheck and saying hello, or he's just going to Don Rickles me and he's just going to insult me. And when you walk out of it, you can get any recognition from Bob Dylan is always cool, even if he slams you that day. But I've known him through Al Kooper. I got to meet him quite a number of times, and
you played with Al Kooper, huh?
Always been an interesting. So I wanted to go, but I said I don't know. It's Thanksgiving. Let me not, let me just do nothing. Let me stay inside. Because New York on Thanksgiving, where I was staying like in Midtown too, the parade people.
Were you on your own?
Yeah.
Why?
So, no. But then I went up to Nanuet to see my son and his mom.
Okay.
On Thanksgiving.
I
took an Uber to Nanuet.
Well, okay. How much did that set you back?
Well, you know what? It set me back. Wait, here's the other thing. It set me back twice as much to go as it did to come back. When you're leaving New York on a holiday and you need an Uber, it's double price. It's double. It's double. And coming back, it's normal price.
You should have got a chopper.
Yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
I should have called.
Where
I
did
should have
that?
called 666.
He said that
Or
Steely
the
Dan
seven,
would
seven,
order
Carmel.
choppers.
Yeah.
What? 666?
No, 7777777.
What's that?
Carmel.
Oh, yeah.
We love you.
Yeah.
You know those guys?
Yeah.
We love you, Booby. That was great, man. Yeah.
When did you first meet Bob Dylan?
Let me see. The first time. I was playing with I was playing with Al Kooper at the Lone Star.
Yeah.
And Al turns to me on stage and he says, "Hey, look against the wall. See that guy that looks like the Unabomber over there? That's Bob." I said, "Really? Yeah." He's got a hoodie on and sunglasses
and a blonde wig.
No, you can't even see anything. It's like the way the Unabomber picture. It's just like a hoodie and sunglasses and then a leather jacket over the hoodie. You know, Bob is here, so he's gonna come up when we take a break. we go upstairs at the Lone Star, and in the dressing room, and Bob comes up. And hey, man, we're saying, hey, man, it sounds great, everything. But Al says, Bob, you want to sit in? And Bob says to Al, yeah, you know that song, After the Lights Go Down Low? You know that one? Al Hibbler did it.
I don't know that.
Yeah, after the lights go down low,
right?
Then you'll know. And Al says to Bob, but Bob, we just did that in the first set. We played that song.
Right.
And Bob says, yeah, but I could sing it good. And then I got it right away. I got it. Those guys have known each other forever.
Right.
Know? And I got it that there was going to be singers always. And the next time after that, and he was cool.
He's really funny, isn't he?
He's very funny.
He's hysterical.
Look, he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
He's the son. There's nothing... there's a direct line, really. Jimmy Rogers and Muddy Waters and Chuck Berry, and Woody. Like Chuck really set up Bob with the, Johnny's in the basement cooking up.
100%.
That's monkey business,
dude. It's 100. Like when I hear Chuck Berry, it's Bob Dylan. It's like that's where I feel like he got like Chuck Berry.
I don't think Bob would deny that.
No, but it's like really,
a lot of it. The poetry too. They're both poets.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next time I'm with Johnny Johnson, a great piano player from Chuck's world. And we're playing at Montreux Jazz Festival. And Dylan comes to see us with Tony Garnier, my friend, who's his music director and bass player. And they come to see us. And it was cool. And then I walk into a room with Tony, and Bob leaves like a crowd of people. Comes over to say hello to me. And then I realize he just wants to get away from those people. So
see, you're humble, dude.
So he came over and says, hey, let's go upstairs and see. And you have to do, Bob, when you talk about, and I hope he doesn't hear this.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go upstairs. Amos Garrett's playing upstairs. I said, wow, Amos Garrett. I saw him with the Butterfield Band, and he played that great solo on Midnight at the Oasis with Maria Muldaur. Just this fabulous, guitar player. We went up to see Amos. And then Bob was cool, man. We just hanging out until somebody recognized him and started giving him a hard time, and then we left. And then I got a call later. I got a call from Tony. He says, Bob wants you to come down and play. And so I went down. There was some players I knew, Ian Wallace, who's passed away, the drummer, and Tony, and myself, and Bob kept asking me if I played pedal steel, and I kept saying, no, I play lap steel. And then every 5 minutes, you sure you don't play pedal steel, right?
It's just a pedal.
Get me one. Get me one. I'll learn
you
it.
Can figure it out.
So needless to say, I didn't play pedal steel. So maybe Bucky Baxter or somebody got the gig. I didn't get the gig, but it was fun to play with them. Yeah. And the situation too was really cool. We just were throwing some. He was just throwing some records on and saying, dig that, and then come in and show us something, going for the groove of a certain record or whatever, just inspiration. And I called Harvey Brooks, who I played with for years, who played on the Highway 61 record with Bob, and was in the Electric Flag, great bass player. Moved to, made Aliyah now, lives in Israel, Rabbi Harvey.
Shout out
and I
Harvey.
said, what was Bob doing that night when he just kept putting records? He had that little, one of those little portable record players we had.
Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, exactly. Before that, I don't know. I think it was a wind-up, man. So he kept putting the record on and leaving the room, and then it's a Leonard Cohen song. Oh, it's a whatever. And then Harvey said, oh, he's probably writing, man.
That's funny.
And he's just like throwing shit out into the air. And, around that kind of genius, it's you see it. You can feel it right away.
What is it? What?
There's ghosts in this place.
This place? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a delivery.
John
I thought that was Kenny Clark's ghost.
Maria Muldaur gave me the best compliment I ever got on my singing, because I sang on something with Jenny Muldaur on her.
I just talked to her at the airport. We came across her.
That's
her
funny.
And Ted. Yeah,
shout out Jenny Muldaur.
She's down. He's a neighborhood chick.
Yeah, but so like she. Maria heard this thing we sang, and she goes, "Who's that black guy singing with you?" And Jenny said, "Oh no, that's my friend Joe. He's not black." And then Maria said, Are you sure?
No, are you sure? Are you Sephardic by any chance?
And then Lou Reed was there.
Yeah.
Lou Reed was there when she told me that, and then Lou said, "Man, you should get that tattooed on you."
Lou.
Yeah.
Lou. Oh my God, Lou.
Did you ever meet him?
Yeah.
You play with him?
Met him and
was Hal or
messed
something?
Around a little, but
oh yeah.
The best. And Lou's gone, so I guess I can tell this story now. But we
Rest
went
in peace.
We all went to. We all went.
We love
to Doc
Lou.
Pomus's funeral.
Oh, I did that tribute to Doc Pomus with them in Brooklyn.
Well, the funeral was at that
because he wrote Magic and Lost for Doc Pomus, right?
Yeah,
that whole
yeah.
thing.
He loved Doc Pomus.
Yeah, he loved him.
He really did. He loved him almost to a fault, as if no one else loved Doc.
Oh, really? Like
and
he
God
took up
bless
all the
Lou.
love.
No,
Yeah.
God bless. So there wasn't room for any of us to love Doc as much
as
Lou did.
Right.
But we went. Where's that chapel over behind the Beacon Theater? It's like it's actually like a Jewish chapel of some sort for where we. So we had the service was there and everybody was there and Dr. John or Mac, we just call him Mac, was playing the organ, for the service, and I think I was sitting with Paul Shaffer and Seymour Stein. And I'm an honorary Jew. I have my own mezuzah. I got.
Nice.
I feel like I'm an honorary.
I
Jew,
had to be. I had to sub for Steve Katz. Hey,
come on, y'all. What the
I
fuck?
feel like my father's ghost. It's a carpenter's.
Right,
here.
I'm about to get in the fetal position and cry in the corner.
So, I was. We had a bar mitzvah ceremony for me.
Oh, for real?
So I could play with the Blues Project.
Oh, wow.
The Jewish Beatles.
Really?
But anyway, we were at this temple.
Is that a joke or for real?
No, it's true.
Oh, really?
They brought it wasn't a real rabbi.
Oh,
It was
okay.
an actor.
Wow.
But it was like Al Kooper saying, "Oh, if you're going to play with us, you have to be Jewish."
Really?
Yeah, so
That's
I
great.
said, "Well, I'm close."
And you're still wearing it.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
It's a nice
This
piece.
one though came from Mike Bloomfield's brother, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, we went and we at the funeral, and then we're going to move the whole thing over to St. Anne's. There's going to be a celebration. People are going to sing.
Yeah.
We're going to have people do testimonials, get up and talk about Doc.
Yeah.
Johnny Adams, the great singer from New Orleans, was there, and he's going to sing. So Johnny sang. He went up and sang, and he's doing all this great stuff. He sings "Ooh Poopa Doo,"
Yeah.
They call me the most. He's up there doing that. And then people are starting to talk, and Lou gets up in his Lou-ness and says,
Epic Lunas.
"I have something to say about Doc Pomus. The first thing I want to say was I didn't come here to hear "Ooh Poopa Doo." That's typical Lou.
That's beautiful.
And then he just went into this beautiful. But then he had to get that out of the way.
That thing in
and then he
there.
just went into this beautiful eulogy about Doc, and then he
Yeah.
left the stage. And then Mac Rebenek comes on and says, "If Doc had been here, the first thing he wanted to hear was "Ooh Poopa Doo."
Nah. Snippety snap.
Yeah. And then Mac went on to do one of his funny things about, everybody had a great story about Doc. And I just remember playing the Lone Star when I first came to town, and Doc was always parked there.
Yeah.
Because I'd be there with Benny King or with, Johnny Johnson or with whoever, all the people, the R&B people he wanted to see.
Yeah.
Or any night I would go, he would be there.
Yeah.
And then I met him through Ellie Granicher I was working with, and all the songwriters knew Doc. He wrote some of the greatest songs ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I did Viva Las Vegas.
That's his?
Yeah.
Save the Last Dance for Me.
Yeah.
He wrote about his wedding, that he couldn't dance with his wife at his wedding because he was in a wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
He wrote, oh my God, Wear Your Ring Around My Neck for Elvis. A whole bunch of good stuff, man. I think a lot of Drifters. A lot of Drifter stuff back in those days. Him and Mort Schumann were like writing partners. Yeah. Yeah, in the Brill Building days, when guys would get together in a little room and say, "Let's bang one out."
That's a great way to write songs.
Well, yeah.
Just like
on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. It's hard for me to do that though, because I stack too many songs and then I feel like I got to do something with them before I write more.
Well, it's funny in those days, and I learned, when I came to town and And Paul Shaffer kind of mentored me in a lot of ways. And
Is that how you started the late night TV thing with Paul?
Well, no. Well, Paul never hired me because he knew I would get my own gig one day.
Right.
So he never wanted me to have two leaders in his band.
You got Letterman, you got Conan.
Yeah. I was working at the Bottom Line a lot at the time.
Fucking wish that place was still around.
Oh man,
what a great place.
You know, the most important joint ever to me, because I came in town. I was working with Al Kooper there and Phoebe Snow and Laura Nyro and a whole bunch of whoever. You know, I remember doing shows for Cousin Brucey there with.
What year?
Starting in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I went there when I got right out of high school.
You look like a spring chicken, dude. It's hard to believe.
And like 74.
Yeah.
When they opened, or 73.
Right.
And saw everybody. I mean, everybody would come through there. Major acts came. Muddy Waters would be coming through there, man, you know. Everybody. Just, so Alan Pepper, who ran the place, he saw, and then the Uncle Floyd show, and my brother, we put the live Uncle Floyd shows on. My brother Floyd had that show in Jersey in late 70s, I think from 76, you know, probably to 86 or something. But that's where I met like Joey Ramone and David Johansen and the punks.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Cyndi Lauper went on the show, and so all the new wave people were going on there. Bowie went on the show. You know, Bowie would come and see us live. We'd be backstage at the Bottom Line ready to do an Uncle Floyd show, and David Bowie would be back there. And I just related this to Tony Visconti the other day when we went to a party I saw him at. I said, you remember you and David be back there at the Floyd shows? And I'd be talking to you. Floyd would come by and go, get these guys out of here. I don't care who they are. We got a show to do. And Bowie loved it. He loved having his ass kicked out of backstage.
Yeah.
He was like, wow, this guy doesn't care who I am.
Right.
And, you know, John Lennon told Bowie about my brother, you know. He should go and see this guy. And so everybody came through the Bottom Line. That's why I started working there. And then with Phoebe and Al Kooper and everybody. So Alan Pepper put this show together.
Wait a minute, so Floyd was your brother?
Yeah, that's my oldest brother.
Your oldest brother. And what did he play?
Piano.
He played piano.
Like Jimmy, he's like Jimmy Durant.
And how many siblings do you come from?
Jerry was the other one, middle child, a saxophone player.
Oh, okay.
He's been with me forever. We work together all the time.
That's amazing.
Well, you know, we had a dance team in 1964. I think I was 9, and we danced at the World's Fair. You know, the Jersey Pavilion. We
You're
used to
a
dance
dancer.
like. Well, we you know, because our parents told us if you want to be in showbiz,
you got to dance.
You got to sing, dance, act, play an instrument. You know,
Yeah.
you got to be like those Osmond kids,
Right.
And they were like little kids on Ed Sullivan, you know.
Yeah.
And so we went Atlantic City, Tony Grant's Cavalcade of Stars, and competed in contests, and
Wow.
and you know, all that was part of the foundation of showbiz.
Yeah.
Beyond just rock and roll,
Right.
you know. And I was a trumpet player, so right until I was like, you know, in my 20s. So
Really?
Yeah.
You
so
started guitar late.
Well, at 23, I switched to guitar. I had been playing B3 in bands and stuff. So at 23, I just said, screw all this. I'm not playing the trumpet. I'm not lugging this B3 around anymore. You know, I'm just going to play guitar. So I, you know, went and hid in a show band, which they don't exist now. But, you know, so then worked at the Bottom Line a lot and worked on a show, Leader of the Pack, with Ellie Greenwich. You know, she was a songwriter from the Brill Building days, like we said before. And that's where I met Shaffer.
Oh, okay.
You know, Shaffer had to okay me. So it's a
okay, you for what?
For that, be music director along with him.
Oh.
Arranger, music director.
He had to okay you for Conan.
Yeah, no, for this Leader of the Pack show.
For the Leader of
so
the Pack.
Paul was doing Letterman at the time.
Right.
And still doing 8 shows a week with us for Leader of the Pack.
Yeah.
But when I had to audition, we were doing these Phil Spector charts. So Paul would say, okay, come on over and let me see what you got. And I had these horns and strings parts all written out, you know. And Paul looks at them and he throws them. I'm sure they're fine. You know? Right. Has a lunchbox, Superman lunchbox, filled with some green goodies.
Oh,
you know?
with weed?
Harry Shearer's there with him. They're sitting. He's the coolest guy I know. He lives in the Gramercy Park Hotel, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't live in an apartment.
Right.
Here's a guy came down from Canada and had such a romantic notion of New York that, like Duke Ellington, wanted to live in a hotel.
Right.
So he lived in the Gramercy Park.
How can you
Hotel.
afford that? I don't get it.
Because at that time, they hadn't converted it yet. And it was kind of a sleazy little joint.
Oh, okay.
You know, it wasn't.
It's like
now
living
it's
in
like
the
condos.
Chelsea
It's like the
Hotel.
Chelsea
Yeah, from the he got in there like 76,
Mm.
77, you know, when he
Right.
started on Saturday Night Live. He says, I got to live in a hotel. Guys were living at the he was at the Gramercy Park, but guys were living at the Chelsea for what, $10 a night?
I guess.
You know?
That sounds romantic now.
Yeah,
to
well,
me.
no, it was in puke and shit.
Yeah, I'm
man,
sure
you
it was
know?
horrible, but
Sid
it
and
sounds fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a classic, drunk writers hotel.
And there's that guitar shop right downstairs.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
killer one.
Yeah, Danny Courtney's shop.
Yeah.
Called, what's it called? Danny's Gonna Kill Me.
I don't know. I can't remember. Is it still there?
Yeah, on
Probably
23rd
is.
Street.
I got my Fender Telly bass there.
Oh, yeah, well, now
Like a
it's like that,
78
it's not as
Telly
big
bass.
as it was. Oh,
Killing.
nice.
Yeah, no, dude, I've had it forever. It does one thing, bass.
Yeah.
Like, it's
So
just-
that anyway, that's where I met Paul at that thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
we started working together. And I always wanted to be on Letterman in the band, but
Yeah.
I never got a chance to. But then I ended up in the same office. He was the same room.
but you manifested it anyway.
Yeah.
So you must have really visualized it a lot.
I don't know. I figured I was gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. Like there's like people that I was happy just working. I never wanted to be an artist. So
Right.
I just wanted to work and back people up and
Yeah.
and do it the right way. And Paul taught me a lot about running a band,
Yeah.
about the rhythm section. If the bass and drums have it right,
Yeah.
because these records were our college,
Mm-hmm.
so we were out to bring these records to the stage,
Yeah.
which we still do with the Fab Faux, the same thing. So Will and I both learned that from Paul,
Man, and you play, and you're in a band with Will Lee. I mean, you really did manifest as close as possible.
I would go and see Will. Man, you know what? I'd go over there I'd go over to wherever Will was playing, and I was like 18, and Will was like 20, and he had already was working at the highest level
right.
in the business with the best people, you know, and I said, I think I can do that.
Right.
I think I can do that. I think I can like really practice and then also learn to. I realized that he's having a good time on stage all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's a key.
Yeah,
You got to have a good time. You got to get your energy.
How can you not if you have your instrument in your hand?
Yeah.
How can you not have a good time?
It's possible. I've managed to bum myself out before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Chuck Berry did that for years.
Yeah, you can get bitter about it.
But that might be your thing.
No, it's not mine. Nah, I'm into like just the positivity train now.
Yeah.
Listening to Abraham Hicks a lot lately.
Well,
Have you ever heard of her? Or
no.
them?
Where are they?
It's like a manifesting thing. Like if you get your energy right, like if you like, just make sure your state is like you're happy. And then you end up manifesting really good things into your life. Is basically it in a nutshell.
That's always true. It's hard to stay out of that in New York City, though.
It's hard to get there,
to
though.
stay in that, rather.
It's hard.
It's easy
to
to get out of it.
Yeah, it's hard to just fully take responsibility for your state of mind and work on that on a daily basis. But I think people that manifest lives like what you've done must naturally know how to do that.
Well, because part of it is being blessed to never have to do anything but play music.
Right, but
I did some construction with my father,
Yeah.
and he would bring me on, my brothers and me on the job, just to make sure, here's a guy that came over from Italy and from a family of carpenters, and he had 3 sons, and none of them were going to be carpenters.
Right.
Because he was the greatest trumpet player I ever heard in my life.
Your dad.
He wasn't allowed to do that.
No.
And his family in those days said no, they didn't encourage him, and
Right.
so he'd come home and play with Louis Armstrong records and nails and shit, But he was like, if you really want to be serious about this, get your stuff together, or just come and mix cement with me and carry shingles, come up and do some roofing. And I did that sometimes,
Yeah.
and realizing that, you don't, it's good for you to do it, and knowing that. And one summer I wanted to get a guitar. So I didn't have a guitar, and I worked for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Got the guitar and quit. Said was sheetrocking for a while.
What was the guitar?
I think I bought my first Telecaster then.
Yeah.
At Victor's House of Music in New Jersey, and I guess everybody could play some guitar, right? Everyone you knew, you could play the cowboy chords and started figuring stuff out, but never was serious about it till maybe another 5 years later or so when I got serious about it. Could play some rhythm guitar in high school, sing, but not. There were such great guitar players around, because we grew up listening to Hendrix and Cream and Clapton, Clapton and Beck and Page and all those guys,
Yeah.
And that's what was like happening back in 67, 68, and going to the Fillmore at 13, telling my father we were going to a Yankee game.
Did you see Hendrix?
No. He was doing a show at the Garden I didn't get to go to, and but I heard it was the one he walked out on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was tripping and the flash bulbs were going off. He kept asking the photographers, please stop taking pictures, you're just like freaking me out. And then he played like 20 minutes and left,
Really?
Yeah.
And it was his headline show at the Garden?
Yeah, and
Damn.
That was when they
Come
put
on, Jimmy, dig deep,
yeah, man.
bro.
Yeah.
Close your eyes.
I know,
dude.
man. But it's how much he did. Look what he did in that short time.
I know, it's weird.
In that short time, really.
Yeah.
It's like 4 years.
Right.
Just about.
Yeah.
3.5 years of work.
Yeah.
All of that. Beatles, 7
Same
years.
with the Beatles.
Yeah, 7. What is it? Ringo says 8 because he did a drum overdub in 1970.
I thought it was like
So
five,
he calls it
5
8.
years. Yeah.
No, yeah. It really starts and they start making, records in 62 or so. Start recording stuff.
Yeah.
63 they have a hit in England. By 70 it's over.
Yeah.
That's the 8 years.
How long were you doing it before the Conan gig came up?
Doing what?
What you're doing?
Working?
Yeah, working.
Just working?
Yeah.
Well, probably since 19.
Your education was a band. You said you
20 years.
hit out in a band.
20 years.
20 years.
Because in 73, when I graduated high school, I went to one semester of college.
Yeah, 73 to 93.
Yeah, 73, and I found a drummer, and I took him and my brother on saxophone, who was finishing Manhattan School of Music, and we got a guitar player, and we had a band with B3 guitar, saxophone, and drums, and we started playing 7 nights a week. We could play.
Doing covers? Or?
Yeah, lounge, in the lounges.
Yeah.
Just like, and at the Crown Lounge in Pequannock, New Jersey. But then they would bring in the Platters, the Drifters, the Coasters, Jackie Wilson. We'd back all these guys up, and so right away, sitting there at the end of the night singing with Fred Paris and the Five Satins up in a hotel room, and learning about harmony and,
It's basically like a master class in
it's college.
Band leading.
Yeah, and also in singers, these guys were only.
They came out without their bands in the house.
Oh, they would just come up and they'd come up. Sometimes, like the Drifters had this guy Abdul that played a big L5, And I said to him, man, because I'm playing. Not only am I playing, the organ, but I'm playing the bass too.
Right.
So I'm like, well, where's the charts?
There's no charts.
Because they're on. He goes, I'm the charts.
Yeah.
And he says, follow me. And he would just go like this. I didn't know what he was playing.
Right. How did you do it?
We got through it.
How?
Because he would get there before the band, and I'd be like just jotting down shit, man. Oh, that one. Let's do To the Aisle, My Prayer. All of that. Only You. With Tony Williams,
when you're doing something like that, do you intuit what the changes are going to be, kind of? Is there like
well,
some
sometimes
kind of
you do, because we've heard those growing up.
Yeah.
I heard those songs growing up.
Yeah. And do you have like perfect pitch, or how do you figure out songs so quick?
No, it's me. It's a muscle memory. I do have a friend though, Ed Ahlstrom, that I grew up with. who now plays organ at Yankee Stadium. He's great.
Yeah.
He could hear, we'd put a song, somebody would request a song, and he'd say, put it on the jukebox, and when they had jukeboxes.
Play it, hear it once, and play
Hear it once. Not only play it, sing it, and know the words.
That's insane.
Photographic memory.
Yeah.
Genius.
Wow.
You know, and he could play like Thelonious Monk, or he could play like Dr. John, or he could play like, you know, anybody. He had an amazing capacity to hold shit in his head. You know?
Who do you think that you've played with taught you the most?
Probably Paul, about band leading, you know,
Right.
and about arranging.
Yeah.
You know, because I learned from the top. You know, I had got some books, and I wrote an orchestra piece in high school, and used to arrange for big bands. So I always heard music from the top, you know, and Paul heard it from the bottom up.
What does that
Getting
mean?
the bass and drums right is half the battle.
Yeah.
When the bass player and drummer know what they're doing, you know, then everything you put on it sounds good.
Right.
But if you only have like the strings and horns right and everything underneath, people are just faking it. You know, so learning to, you know, make sure that the rhythm section was right. So then I would say, man, bring the horns in later or the strings in later. We need to rehearse the rhythm section a couple days to get this shit right.
Yeah.
And that's the way they made records too.
Yeah.
All the other stuff was window dressing.
Right.
The meat and potatoes are in the rhythm section.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, bass and drums and a singer is a song.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Morphine.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that was a good
It's
band.
right there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they
Mark
had hung.
Sandman.
I wish he had hung around longer.
Yeah, he passed early.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's that heroin, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a heart attack that got him.
It's an H attack. You know?
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, sue me.
No one's going to
It could have been, you know, some people get a heart attack from not sleeping. Whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, sometimes it's natural and we assume. So maybe I'm assuming, but
Yeah,
the name of the band was Morphine.
that's true. Yeah, you got.
They were great.
Words are powerful.
They were great, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the presidents of the United States were also interesting back then. There were some bands back then. Remember them?
Yeah, I remember.
Of course.
Another
yeah.
really interesting band.
Peach.
That's true.
Was it Peach? What was their catchy
what are they
song?
doing now?
I don't know. We could use one.
Yeah, because they were funny, but it wasn't. It wasn't just a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke.
They also rocked.
Well, so was Zappa. When I saw Frank Zappa as a kid, it was funny, but it was like impossible. You know, and I had a band in high school, and all we played was Mothers, you know, and people used to throw shit at us, you know. Play some Grand Funk.
Yeah.
You know, we're playing Colony Vegetable, you know, or whatever was on Absolutely Free.
Right.
And they're yelling for Blood Rock or something.
Did you ever play with Frank?
No, I didn't. I'm friends with Dweezil, but I never played with Frank. Frank was gone before I could, you know, get to him.
Yeah, Dweezil's intense.
Oh, he's intense. He's so good.
He is really
He's
good.
so
Yeah,
good.
I got to hang out with him.
I mean, in a
bit
lot of
LA.
ways, he's, you know, Frank was, of course, the innovator.
Yeah.
But Dweezil's taken it further, you know. I mean, as a player,
right?
You know, Frank would be very proud of Dweezil.
I think so too.
I mean,
But
he's out
he's
there
got all
doing the
that-
Hot Rats tour, and
He's got all that intense, weird thing with his family. Like they.
yeah, I don't get into it because I know them all. You know?
Okay,
but I
yeah.
know that it's intense because
Yeah.
I know Ahmed as well, and I knew Gail. You know, and you know, that's always, you know, you got to have other people be the caretaker of the catalog and the business. You know,
Yeah.
when family tries to do the business, something goes wacky all the time.
Family is wacky.
Well, you know, look what they come from.
No, I don't mean them. I just mean family.
Oh,
in
family.
general.
No, but family being in business
general.
together is difficult.
Right.
You know, because it's I don't know the story, but I know that I like them all. So
Oh, okay.
you know, it's not for me. But I think that, you know,
We can start going away from this
Dweezil's-
topic.
no, you know,
Back to Levon.
Yeah.
you gotta be, you know, you gotta shut up about people's shit because
That's
it's not
true.
yours.
It's not
you know?
yours. Yeah.
Though we are yentas at heart, all of us want
Yeah.
to dish, you know.
Yeah. Let's dish. No.
I did. I'm sorry, Lou Reed,
No,
but that was a funny story.
Oh, I think he would
That was
laugh.
Lou being Lou.
I mean, come on.
I've seen him do that too.
He would laugh.
Lou could open the window and yell out the window, and it's a song, man. You
Yeah.
know? So, you know.
I was walking with him through the city one time. There was a few people, And then we walked right by this window. Somebody was playing what is it called? Pale Blue Eyes in the apartment, like right on the ground floor. The window was open. And I like stopped at the window, and Lou was like kept walking. I said, "Hey Lou, come here." And then he came over, and I was like, "Listen." And then I go, "Wouldn't it be funny if you just knocked on their window and said hello?" And then he just laughed and kept walking. But
he laughed.
He laughed.
You got Lou to laugh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was also friends with Dion DiMucci, who I've worked with for over 35 years. And Dion liked him. So if Dion liked him, he was right. He was New York.
Lou was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He really was. I mean, I know that's like weird for some people to hear, but he really, like, if you knew him, he was a sweetheart.
Well, why wouldn't we expect him to be who he is?
Listen to how sweet some of those songs are. You know, the guy had a big heart.
Yeah, and a great writer without a doubt. And in his mind, like everyone, try to sing like a Lou Reed song. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
Delivery.
It's difficult.
Oh yeah.
It's like Bob when Bob said in Don't Look Back when he said, I'm as good. I'm a better singer than Caruso. I can hold my breath twice as long as Caruso.
Yeah. I think Bob's a great singer.
Oh yeah, I do too. Try it.
Yeah.
It's all about acting anyway, isn't it? It's like singing.
Yeah. Drama.
Yeah, Sinatra always said, "Oh, Dean's a better singer than me," or Vic Damone has a better voice than me.
Right.
But they couldn't phrase like Frank.
Yeah.
And that's like the conversational part that makes a singer great.
Right.
Not the singing part.
Yeah.
Willie
Although
Nelson, come on.
in the wee small hours, he sings like a maniac in that shit.
Yeah, and he can hold a syllable and like an N.
Yeah,
and he can turn the word and 6 syllables of and.
Right.
No, brilliant at holding a consonant. He was a control. He learned from Tommy Dorsey, how to breathe like a trombone player.
Yeah. You sound like you could sing.
Well, I do.
He dabbles in it.
Yeah.
I dabble in singing. All the time, and I learned from some really great people. Like, the only genius was Laura Nyro out of all of them.
Yes,
that was
amazing.
From another planet almost.
Why?
Well, because the story with Laura was I was working with Felix Cavalieri, who had from the Rascals, who had produced her, and John Sebastian, who knew her.
Right.
And we were doing something together, the three of us, and they knew Laura, and then Laura was looking for somebody to work with. So Roscoe Herring, who was the conduit of all three of those people, kind of the road manager and just took care of business, he called me because he knew me from Felix. And he said, Lorelei wants to come and see you. I'm saying, I'm playing at the Lone Star, with Benny King or something. She should come down, And there she was, like Bob Dylan with the hoodie on again and the sunglasses. It's like a recurring theme.
Geniuses in hoodies.
Genius in hoodies and Unabomber looks. And so she came to see me, and then she left. I said, I guess she didn't dig it or something, And then I got a call from her, and she said, oh, she had the sexiest voice. Can you come to Connecticut? Roscoe will take you to my house. I want to talk to you. So Roscoe takes me up. We drive up to Danbury, and there's this really nice house back in the woods, and we go up and look in the window of the big house, and there's like a Steinway piano and a studio, API board. It's like looking into a beautiful studio.
Wow.
And we're knocking on the window. No one's there, and Roscoe says, she's up at the little house. At the little house, right? So we walk up this hill, and we're walking up those sort of flagstones that wobble when you're trying to get up the hill. And we get up the hill, and we get to this Japanese, house. It looks like something from a Kurosawa movie. You could, slice through it with a samurai sword. And they open the door, and there's, in the room is Laura in the corner on the floor with her dog, Emmy, and there's one chair. And then there's a Japanese bed with a pillow that looks like a brick and sort of a mat, and that's where she was living. So she says, "Yeah, I don't live in the big house. I can't.
Why?
It's the studio. It's the workplace.
Right.
So you had 20 rooms there she wasn't living in.
Huh.
And so she said, I have some ideas, and I wrote down some ideas for you of what my vision of this project is. And she hands me a paper plate. It's about the size of that stool, right? A white paper plate, like you get French fries in.
Yeah.
And I take the paper plate, and the writing starts in the middle of the plate, and then it spirals
around.
It spirals out to the edges of the plate. So she's got me already, because I'm like, it looks like a steering
testing
wheel.
you.
I'm reading this, my head's going that way, the plate's going to the right, and I'm just like, and I'm reading her ideas, and I said, this is like an alien person, and it was all about harmony. It was about a group made up of equally of men and women. It was about no leather.
No leather.
It was totally about animals' rights, vegan. She was way ahead. She wasn't a trend. She was a trendsetter more than somebody that was following a trend.
Yeah.
And and she she was an earth mother kind of a person. And so I read that. I said, okay. Yeah, let's put a band together. So we start doing auditions, getting people in to play, and finally we had three women, 3 men.
Wait, but when you first read the plate, and then what was your response to her?
My response to her was, this sounds like something I want to do. So, okay, so the next step was next week we'll come here and we'll have first thing we'll do is I said, well, I know a good drummer, that sings. Frank Pagano, not Rich, but Frank from Jersey. And she liked Frank right away because she was Italian too. Laura Bianchini, Laura Nyro, and then she married Bianchini was her other name. But Nigro was their name, Nigro. Joe Nigro was her father. Bronx girl.
And so she changed her name.
She used to sing in doo-wop bands with the guys, in the stairways in the Bronx high schools.
That's funny.
So that's why Felix knew her. He was from Pelham Park.
Yeah.
And she was from the Bronx too. So we got Frank Pagano, and then we were playing with
Is that Rich's brother or something?
No, not related at all.
Not even...
Another great singing drummer.
Right.
And we played, and then we started doing bass player auditions. And she was like, well, it
needs to be a woman.
It needs to be a woman, and and all kinds of great players came down. Gail Dorsey came down.
Wow.
All these great players. But Laura was like very particular. And also, a woman's woman at the time. She was an earth mother sort of. There was a lesbian community, but she didn't like it to be obvious, and she was like that. Another girl came in that played. She's just coming on too strong, she's not relaxed.
Right.
So we got Dave Wofford, who I knew, who was in Spyro Gyra. It's really great, just like groove bass player. So now we had bass, drums, and piano. We needed 2 more, so we got Nydia Mata to play percussion.
So
Nydia was a Puerto Rican girl. Was in a band called Isis from New York.
Right.
She was badass and a good friend of Laura's, and then we got Diane Wilson, another singer. So we kept it at and so Frank and Laura and I and Diane did the vocals, and then we had percussion and bass along with that. So it was a great band, and we recorded. We live at the Bottom Line again. We recorded a record, and I worked with her for a long time, and then...
How many years?
Oh, probably 4 or 5 years.
Until she passed?
And you toured with her and stuff?
Yeah, we did. And then in 93, we had stopped working.
What size rooms were you guys doing?
Bottom line size.
Bottom line?
Yeah.
Singer-songwriter vibes? Were they full houses?
They were cool houses, yeah.
Were people coming?
Yeah, they were coming.
Okay.
They were coming for her.
Yeah.
They knew.
Yeah.
All kinds of people were coming for her.
Right.
I mean, we played the Mayfair in L.A. It was great. It's gone now. It was in Santa Monica. We did 7 nights there and sold them out, and everybody came to see her. The people that would come to see her was like blowing my mind.
Like who?
Not like Joni Mitchell or somebody like that.
Oh, really?
All the other singer-songwriters, the guys and the girls.
They all knew.
Yeah, and I had met a lot of them through working with Phoebe before. Phoebe Snow, Stephen Goodman coming around, a great songwriter, and you know, just everybody that she knew came up with playing with. We would do the same kind of places, same exact places I played with Laura, and so I was working, and then I've worked with Darlene Love and Ronnie Spector, all women. I'm working with women all the time, so I'm getting another kind of education from them. You know,
like what?
Well, because you learn to be a little bit more respectful and less, you know, and they're
toning the ego down,
and on stage too. They're a lot more subtle on stage. It's like just everybody be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
The female nature.
Yeah. It's and you know, it was great, and I learned so much about singing from Laura. You know,
like what?
Well, there were two people, Laura and Rick Danko.
Oh, I love Rick
that
Danko.
Talked about singing like a saxophone. You know, and I'll give you. We used to do "The Wind" by the Diablos. Wind, wind, blow, wind, and it would be like the note would have to like wind open up, and Rick Danko was like that too. And the sun don't shine. It was like horns. There was a natural sort of
like a swelling,
you know,
swell.
like when you hit a note on a horn, and they were so keyed into singing, you know. And I was always a second nature to me. Okay, I'll just sing. All right. Well, no, you won't just sing.
Yeah.
You know? No,
you got to concentrate.
So blending, probably about blending, more about that. Levon, Rick, you know.
Yeah.
They knew more about singing than almost anybody, and Laura and Phoebe. You know, those singers, you know, cause that's what they do.
Yeah.
We play an instrument too, but with Laura, it was more about a singer
that
plays piano. And like you say, it's not songwriter-singer, it's singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's very few that are not keyed into, you know, there's a reason why people sell 1 million records, whether you like the song or not. They're usually pretty good.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we as a kid, we're always judgmental. I don't like that. That's not cool. And now I hear something again, and I'll say, that is pretty cool, you know?
Right.
I understand why it was a hit, you know? And
That's true.
But there's no hits anymore.
What do you mean?
Well, there's no top 40.
There are hits, though. People have hits.
Well, they have hits, but not on the millions.
Right.
You know? Not in the... They have hits, but it's niche now, you know? They've managed to take this wonderful stew of AM radio and FM radio that mixed everything together, so we got a good balance of everything, and turned it into niche stations. Oh, you know, it's all Springsteen on this station. It's all Beatles on that station. You know, it's all Grateful Dead here. It's a Pearl Jam radio, you know?
Yeah.
And it's taken the variety out of... it's like eating the same food every day, if that's what you do, and just put that on, you know? And you know, it... You find yourself switching the stations a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
They used to give you a good rounded...
Yeah, it used to be balanced.
Yeah, there was a balance, yeah. Look what we're doing.
Right.
This is radio, man.
Yeah.
This is not a new thing.
This is this is television.
Yeah. It's television, it's radio.
It's the new talk show, is podcast, and you can just have your own talk show. Like, that's what we're doing.
Well, you know, you're riding in a car. It's the greatest thing to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as distracting. You're more keyed into it than music.
Yeah.
You know,
somehow people really love long form conversation. You know, I think everybody's jazzed about it. It keeps you company too, and everybody's isolated more and more and lonely, and like, so like just listening to podcasts, I think keeps people company.
Yeah.
You know?
It's qualified bullshit.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Bullshitting.
Well, no, we would be sitting around, you know, in an apartment doing this, or at a bar doing this, or wherever doing the same thing that we're doing here, you know, and now we're letting everybody else into it.
Right.
But, you know, it amazes me, though, that it feels like a new thing when it's not at all.
Right.
It's radio.
It is. It's radio.
It's just freer radio.
It's free radio.
Yeah. Right. With no. Yeah. And we can say words, and we can say things, and we can take them back.
Yeah. So tell me about working with Levon.
Well, Levon came along again. I was working with Sebastian a lot. We had a jug band, you know.
A jug band?
Yeah, Fritz Richmond was in there from the Queskin
somebody,
band.
Somebody played a
well,
jug?
Fritz Richmond, who was in the Queskin band with Jeff Muldaur and all those guys, you know. He played the jug and the wash tub, you know, and he built these great instruments, too.
Right.
He'd been doing it since the 60s up in Cambridge, you know, the first folk revolution in 62. So John lived in Woodstock. I got a place up in Woodstock. And John said, let's go over to Levon's, you know. Mm-hmm. We went over to Levon's. He lived really close to me. I had met him before. The first time I met Levon was at the Chicago Blues Festival when I was playing with Johnny Johnson. And I was late. I missed the bus over to Grant Park. And that's where I met Hubert Sumlin, too. He missed his bus, too. And then a bus pulls up. The doors open on this bus. It's like a band bus. Mm-hmm. And, like, smoke comes out, like, sort of Cheech and Chong, you know?
Right.
And then Levon comes through the smoke with, like, these Miles Davis wraparound sunglasses and, like, it looked like an alien running suit made out of, like, aluminum foil. I don't know. You know, those strange... And he's... You guys look lost. Come on the bus. So we get on with Levon and you know, and go over to the festival and we had a great time. So I knew him, and then he came on the Conan show with the band a couple times, and we got to know each other, and we got along great. And then I found out when I got a place in Woodstock, he says, man, you could throw a rock and hit my place from yours. So,
yeah, and Garth lives up there, too.
Garth was up there, and Rick was still up there at the time. And so I would start hanging out with him. Then he got sick. You know, he got throat cancer, and he went to Sloan Kettering, and they got him 10 extra years at least, right? Yeah. But I would go visit him all the time. You know, and we'd sit around, and we'd write songs around the little pond he had in the back, and he said, "Man, nobody wants to hire me. You could hardly talk like that. Nobody wants to hire me because I can't sing." And I was like, "Man, you can play drums better than anybody I know.
Right.
Let's start a band." We started a blues band. We called it the Barn Burners because Levon had burnt at least 2 barns down in Woodstock, and they burnt down a house in Malibu too.
Yeah, just falling asleep with a cigarette.
Cigarettes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we had this great little band, the Barn Burners.
Too bad he didn't start vaping.
Yeah, we started working around, like doing gigs, you know, and then he got tired of it, and he said, let's just do what we used to do in Arkansas and start a midnight ramble.
Yeah,
and bring the people to the barn.
Yeah, let them come to us.
Yeah, and he was like Ralph Crampton with these schemes, you know. I said, "Man, but don't worry about it. Aren't you going to have fire? Don't worry about it. Don't you need a ramp for wheelchairs? Don't worry about it."
Yeah, just don't worry about it.
Because he knew everybody in town. And guys would come over, then Paul Schultes comes over, and next day there's a ramp.
Yeah.
You know, guy builds it. Next day he's got the guys in the fire department working security for the Ramble. So we're covered, you know. It's just hometown Arkansas sense of how to do things.
Yeah.
Don't ask, just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
Yeah. Build it and they will come.
Build
and
it and they will come.
And they did, and they came. And everybody wanted to be at the Ramble, you know.
I never got to one of those, but I've always heard about them.
Well, they still go on in the spirit
of.
Yeah.
You know, but it's kind of like being at the Ryman without Hank Williams, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
There's the voices in the rafters, man, in the wood.
Yeah.
All the voices that went up are still up in there. So, yeah, and we did a lot of good stuff together. And
who sat in with you guys?
Well, you know, I mean, he would actually have shows, and, you know, I couldn't do it all the time, and then Larry Campbell started doing it too, then we both started doing it. Then Larry kind of had to take over when I moved to California. I couldn't do it all the time, but I would come back and do it. But, you know, Steve Earle, Jackson Brown, the Muddy's band, the legendary blues band would come up, and, you know, it was just like Emmylou Harris, you know, all these people Levon knew. Yeah. Would come up. Chris Robinson was great.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great...
I just did something with him a couple of weeks ago.
He's a great singer.
Yeah, you could probably sing like that, right?
I mean, I don't think anybody like he's
he's Otis Redding, man.
Yeah, he's a great singer.
They're together again. Thank God. You know the two of them. But
I saw him on Howard Stern. They sounded good.
I just worked with him a couple of weeks ago in New Orleans. This great.
How was it?
He was great.
Yeah,
he was great. Mavis Staples and him and Amy Helm and do you know Tash Neal at all? He had a band called the London Souls.
Yeah,
he's a New York guy.
With him at City Wine.
Yeah.
He's an interesting cat.
Okay,
man.
yeah.
He's kind of like, not just because of his race or his attitude, it's more like Jimi Hendrix. There's an innocence to him.
Right.
It's a beautiful musician.
We should hang
but
out
there's
with
a
Jimmy
Hendrix
more.
More like Jimmy as a person than as a player.
With you. I'm saying we should hang out with you more. All these people you hang out with.
Are you missing New York, or are you loving living in L.A.? How long you been in L.A. now?
I reside in L.A. and I live everywhere else.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
I've been there 10 years.
Yeah,
now.
do you? And I heard in an interview you said I like it because I'm meeting all these new musicians I wouldn't have met before.
Yeah, and
there is a lot of good people out there.
No, it's very cool. You got to find, you have to, here it's easier to, we're like a tighter community here.
Yeah.
There it's all spread out.
You just see everyone all the time here. Like, you just walk around and is that me? Oh my God. I set my alarm for 10:30.
What did you think we were doing this next week?
I don't know. I'm glad I woke up. But where are you living in LA?
I'm in Burbank, so I can be at work in 10 minutes, where I work at Warner Brothers, which is nice to walk on that lot every day,
Yeah.
I like Burbank.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the building. The studio we're in not only was Casablanca shot in there, but so was Goonies.
Right.
It's
a
like
good mix.
spans,
Yeah.
I feel very, very much like that. There's ghosts.
Well, there's ghosts
throughout
in here.
In here.
I mean, Mingus recorded a record in here.
Yeah.
John Coltrane.
That
album, that red album cover of Miles Davis was shot here.
Yeah, the Jazz Messengers. In fact, Mike Merritt, who did play with me on Conan, also was in my band, Black Italians, and played with me with Johnny Johnson.
Yeah.
His father, Jimmy Merritt, was in the Jazz Messengers.
Yeah.
And Mike lived in Philly. Most of these cats lived in Philly, these jazz guys, because they couldn't afford New York then even.
Right.
And he said they all used to come to his, when he was a kid, Coltrane to be over the house, on Sunday. Or, I mean, they were just cats from around the neighborhood as far as he knew. The genius of those times, boy, those guys, Mike would tell stories about, my pop didn't like rock and roll much, because these guys were operating at a level of, like musicianship.
It was beyond.
That was beyond.
Yeah.
It was beyond most people's actual comprehension. I think a lot of people in the 50s hung out and snapped their fingers to jazz and didn't get it.
Right.
Otherwise, it would have lived a longer life, I think. It's still, you go back and listen to it and go, man, these are the best musicians America ever produced.
Right.
All that bebop period, man, those guys, and the swing guys before that,
Does it exist anymore, you think?
Well, yeah, it does, but it's a lot less. There were more of them then.
Yeah.
Sure, it exists. It does exist, and there's guys that are second generation, like Joshua Redman, Dewey Redman's son, and Ravi Coltrane, and
Mingus' son too.
I think I haven't heard him, but a lot of the legacy guys are.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Mingus big band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of I had worked with Monk's son. T.S. Monk in the 70s or 80s, making disco records,
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tootie. Yeah, T.S. Monk. And his sister. So both of Monks, Boo, the other Monk. Boo Monk and T.S. Monk. They were around. But they were making, that was vital music at the time. Miles Davis was hipper than hip.
Yeah.
Yet Bill Graham knew to bring him to the Fillmore.
Yeah. Did you ever read his book?
Oh, it's great.
It's unbelievable.
It's just.
I always think about the West Side Highway and a yellow Ferrari on Blow.
He used to have this house when I lived on. I lived up on 92nd and Riverside, And he had this house in the 70s with like this big like African wood sculpture on the outside of it, like a brownstone. And he used to hang out there, man. You could see him. Hey, it's Christine Santelli.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he would be hanging out, man. He would just, be on the corner waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
We're making something happen. But, yeah, cats were around. That's what you say about New York.
Yeah.
They can't hide.
Yeah, everybody's out and about.
Yeah.
That's what I like about New York is it's all on the street.
Somebody's in line buying a bagel somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
When did you, what was it like when you finally got the gig being the band leader for Conan? Because you were in that band for a while before you were the leader, right?
Well, I was always doing the charts and running the band. You know, I was. We had a band leader by name,
Max.
That we wouldn't have had the gig without.
Right.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. He brought you into that.
He brought me in. I was living up in Sausalito, right above San Francisco, out there in Marin County.
Oh, okay.
At Clarence's house. And I got a call.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was playing in a band with Clarence. We had a band.
Oh, so that's how you...
And he called me.
What was that band called?
Just Clarence Clemons, and the somethings, whatever we were. And he called me and said, "Don't tell Clarence." I got us an audition. Because I had worked with him, with Joe D'Elia in a band called Killer Joe. We had made a record. Max and I got along fine. He was a drummer that, knew a lot about music but didn't know about writing it down or running a band so much. So we worked together. And when we started, we were going to be co-leaders, but that went out the window as soon as the cameras went on. So so we still worked together, and I was grateful to walk in the NBC every day and work. But Clarence, he says, "Don't tell Clarence, because if Clarence calls them, he'll get the gig without even auditioning." That's how dynamic he was.
Yeah.
That's how much of a...
That's true.
The guy was such a huge force.
I met his son recently. Speaking of sons, he's a good musician too.
Yeah,
I played with him actually in Jersey.
Jake plays guitar.
I jammed
right?
with him. Yeah. He plays sax.
No, he played sax.
Yeah.
No, his nephew plays.
Oh, that was his nephew. Sorry,
that's his nephew.
Absolutely right. Sorry, our bad.
But Jake is his nephew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so his son was, I can't remember his son's name now, but it wasn't. Jake's his nephew. Yeah.
I didn't realize.
And he's
that.
mostly a sax player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So came back and basically took my band, my brother and myself, and and then we, as a rhythm section with Max, Mike Merritt on bass, Scott Healy on keyboards, and we got La Bamba and Pender. We grabbed them from the Jukes, because at Jersey we all knew each other through these Jersey experience, for many years, so. We went in, we auditioned, we killed it, and we got the gig. So it was fun. And we were here 16 years in Rockefeller Center. I've been 10 years in California now with Conan.
So 26
So
years.
no, it wasn't any different,
Is it 26 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
And for me, it's the same amount of work I always did for the band. So, and it was the same thing. Now there's no band, though. Now it's just me. Recording.
Because he cut down the format.
It's just, because it's a half-hour talk show now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, because he has to do this, too, podcast.
I didn't know that. So now it's just you?
It's just me, I just go in there and record cues, and I record bumper in and outs, and I record walk-ons.
I didn't realize. I thought it was still, the Conan show was still the same.
No, it's not the same.
About a year now, right? A year?
I didn't have any idea.
Yeah, a year now. Yeah, we're in coming into our second year of that. But, the landscape is so crowded, man. When it started, there wasn't all these. We started 26 years ago. Mm-hmm. There weren't as many shows. There weren't as many cable channels.
Right.
Before that, when Letterman started, it was like the 3-4 networks.
Yeah.
Now it's crazy. And really, who makes appointments with TV anymore?
I know.
Who says, I got to be home to watch that? No, you don't. You
the fact that I didn't even realize it had changed, I don't have a TV. I just, it's the
just
internet.
Go watch
I think Conan was smart to realize the talk show hour-long doesn't work, and he cut it down to 30 minutes.
No, it doesn't work. And by the way, nobody
What do you mean it doesn't work?
It's hard
people
to
still
sustain.
dig it.
It's hard
though.
to sustain. It's a lot of work every day. Every day to put on.
Well, it's not what it used to be. It doesn't have the.
No, it doesn't have the gravitas.
It doesn't have it, and also, advertising has changed so much, man. You know, now YouTube. You know.
Yeah.
You know, people watch on YouTube.
That's true.
YouTube TV's coming now, right? That's happening.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, you can educate yourself on YouTube too. Yeah. Like you can get into go through rabbit holes.
Man, just about anything you want to find out.
Yeah.
You know, I got this eye pencil, right?
Yeah, I got one.
See the directions that come with it? You can't even read them.
I never read the directions.
Well, I went right to YouTube how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they say, oh, you got to go and put on the, you got to put on the Bluetooth and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. You can find out just about anything. Mm-hmm. And there's 10 different ways to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's the right way. But it is a good tool for musicians, too. Hey, if you want to learn how to play something quickly...
Yeah.
Was that an open tuning? What is that tuning?
Oh, no, I always just go to YouTube when I want to learn a cover song or something like that. Somebody already figured it out, and then I just learn it from them.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of guitars are you using now?
Mostly Fender Gibson, you know, my favorites.
Yeah. I've been into these Fender Acoustasonics. Have you seen those?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're killer.
Yeah. I work with both companies, you know. Mm-hmm. I like both of them. I think they're both, and I always tell them these are both necessary tools. You know, when it comes down to it, you need a Telecaster and a Les Paul at least, you know. And
the Fender Acoustasonics amazing because it's great. It has a simulation of acoustic sound that's incredible.
That's the thing. It looks like a Telecaster with a hole.
I
know. I was one of the guinea pigs.
They gave you one?
No, I went down there. And they said, come over and run it through some tests, you know. Mm-hmm. And they had guys with clipboards taking, you know, me and a couple other guitar players were down there running through. And I was like, yeah, do this or that, do this would be better if this or that was happening when they just had prototypes. And then I tried to get one. I said, hey. Oh, man, they're back ordered. I said, you should have taken that one that day. I said, well, I didn't think it was done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They'll give you one, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You should get one.
It's very cool.
It's real cool. I mean, they got the switch is a bunch of different acoustic settings, and then there's a knob that you can blend the two different acoustic sounds, and then back pickups.
Doesn't feedback.
An electric. It can because there's mic. They have it so there's the piezo pickup, and then they got some microphones in it. I mean, they nailed it. Yeah. They really nailed it. I was playing Godins for a while.
Keep telling me it's...
No, but they nailed it. The Godin had the acoustic electric
I have
thing.
that Godin.
and no diss to them. That's a great company, and I used to work with them.
I have a nylon stringer there. So
and they're great, but the Fender one took it to the next level.
Yeah.
And, and they nailed it. I don't know. It's a great machine for what I do. Look at that Joan Jett shirt.
I know.
Nice one. So what's it like being a band leader with Conan when he's such a guitar player freak?
This job has really been 26 years of guitar lessons for Conan.
Right.
That's the only reason I'm still there.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He wants to be you,
He's
right?
Great. He's great.
Yeah.
You know, he's a rockabilly head. Mm-hmm. You know, a Gretsch guitar head. You know, Fender. We got him a Strat. We got for one of his birthdays a 55, like Buddy Holly's.
Oh, really?
Because he's yeah. So we me and the producers and a couple other people ponied up to get this 55.
I mean, that must have cost $400,000.
No, they're not. Strats aren't up there with Les Pauls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
That's funny.
No, you can get them for 30, 40. It's crazy.
Look, that's still crazy.
A brand new one of any of these companies is as good as anything to me. You know.
Yeah.
I don't buy into that.
I don't really give a shit either. I'm not really that into.
I play unsafe guitar for the most part.
What?
The unsafe guitar. The wire.
What's that?
The cord goes directly into the amp.
Oh, yeah.
No condom in between.
No. Oh, you don't.
I don't like effects much if I don't have to use them.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not an effects guy. The guys I saw when I was a kid just had Marshalls turned all the way up.
Right.
And maybe a wah-wah, maybe a fuzz.
You don't do the overdrives or anything.
I have them because I need them for work.
Yeah.
And I need them for sessions. I need them for certain things. But like Prisoners, the band that's playing tonight.
You're here for that.
I'll just chain a couple Fender amps together and turn them all the way up.
Oh, okay. So why are you in town for this?
Well, I was here. We did. I was in New Brunswick before Thanksgiving with Fab Faux, and then I was in town because tonight I have a gig at the Cutting Room. So.
Oh yeah,
that's Prisoners of Second Avenue. We just play. I had this idea after playing with Government Mule and knowing Warren, that I wanted to have a trio. They were a trio back when I first saw them. Woody and Matt and Warren. I said, man, I got to have a trio like that. Because that reminds me of 1968.
Hendrix.
Yeah, just like everyone, Mountain. Everybody I went to see, there was that. So I said to Rich, because we were doing Fab Faux already, let's start a trio that's like, and just grab all the music that influenced me when I was a kid, because I'm older than you guys, and
not by much.
This is great music to play, live. Cream, Mountain, we play some.
Are you ripping leads?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And
that's
John Conte.
It's about that whole thing.
John Conte on bass. Yeah. That dude's badass.
That had the Who.
Yeah.
That had a jazz influence, that you have the song, and you have into the middle the jam, and then out, which was a jazz thing. The head, the jam, and the head, and that's what Cream was, like a jazz band,
right?
Because they just wanted to get the song out of the way.
Yeah.
So in the middle,
so they could jam.
They could just be like two dogs fucking in the yard. They don't see anything. They don't see anything else going on around them.
That's why I play with loops, like as a singer-songwriter, so I can rip leads and like for the same reason, because that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Is the improvisation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your favorite guitar players?
Mike Bloomfield.
Mike Bloomfield?
Hands down, yeah.
Who did he play with? Bloomfield
Mike
Blues
Bloomfield
Band.
First played with the Butterfield Blues Band.
Oh, Butterfield Blues
and
Band.
Then is on all the Highway 61 album. Bob
Oh, okay.
And then started a band called Electric Flag. And then did Super Session with Al Kooper.
Yeah.
And then died too young from OD'd, But
what about him do you like so much?
His reckless abandon. Guitar has gotten so calculated.
Right.
Guys are a little too long in the practice room.
Yeah.
And I always feel like if a ball player's up there at the plate and he hits the ball, he doesn't drop down and do push-ups.
Right, he runs.
You play the game. You run to first base.
Yeah.
You don't do your calisthenics.
Right.
So it's got to be like Hubert Sumlin, where it's heart to hand.
Yeah.
Skipping the head.
Yeah.
You can't. Once you start running your shit, then you're not playing music.
Yeah.
So it should be like an extension of singing. And it should also be like conversational and reactive to what's going on.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like overlaying your shit over what the band's playing. The band is a band. All 3 or 4 or 10 are playing together, and it should be a reaction. Otherwise you get this such overlay of everything
it's like
practiced.
Good acting. You're listening and reacting.
Exactly. Of course it is. And it should be conversational. Man, if some of these guys who do, are playing their violin riffs over the music,
Paganini.
Yeah, and if they had a conversation like that,
I'd be like, "Hello."
Or if they were having sex like that.
Yeah, it's like
Jack, me, all me, you.
Oh,
there's somebody
God.
else here.
I don't want to have sex with you.
There's somebody else here. No, but that's what it's like to me. Like there's no give and take then, and there's no, So anyway, I digress all night long.
That's what we're here for.
It's about
for you to digress.
It's a conversation music.
Yeah. So what do you do to prepare yourself for gigs or the TV show? Do you do meditation or any kind of thing mentally? Any preparation, yoga, push-ups?
I tried all that, but the music is like in the way of it.
What do you mean?
So I can't clear the music out of my head.
Right.
Which you have to do to do
No one's
meditation.
asking you to.
Well, meditation asks you to clear your head.
Clear your head.
But me, all I'm doing is running the music through my head all day.
Never,
so I'm preparing.
Never stopping?
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Huh.
You know, it doesn't stop. It makes for
a busy mind.
Sometimes it's, annoying, but because I'm on the train and people think I'm nuts because I got to play some B3, so I'm like practicing like in the air, and they stay away from me. It's great. Nobody comes around. I look like Joe Cocker sitting on the train. That's what Joe was doing.
Yeah.
This is guitar.
Right.
With Joe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Joe
and he
Cocker.
did that. Yeah,
when he did that singing.
And the piano was this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what he was doing. And people didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
John Belushi knew. He got it down. Yeah. Joe, I worked with Joe once, and I did this show called, I had this friend named Joel Gowan who actually started MTV Unplugged later on. But when he was coming up, he was working with me with Felix Cavalieri. He was like our road manager. And then he moved out to L.A., and he got he was working with Sid Vintage, and they were like doing Showtime specials, Cinemax specials. And I said, man, if you ever do a special with James Brown, call me. I'll carry guitars. I'll pay you. So he calls me finally a couple of years later. Remember what you said about if I ever work with James Brown? He goes, well, I got this thing we're developing. It's called A Soul Session with James Brown on Cinemax. And we got James Brown and Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin, Robert Palmer, Billy Vera, who was around then. Who else was on it? Oh, if that's not enough.
I think that's
if that's not, well, just Pickett, James Brown, and Aretha is pretty fabulous. So he goes, I need you to come. I'll give you a plane ticket and hotel and $500. You'll be the music director.
What year is this?
Oh,
I just want to know how much $500 is.
Oh, I don't know. I think
not a lot.
Not
I
a
don't
lot.
know. I think it's 80, 87, 86. No, it was nothing.
Still not a lot.
It was nothing.
But you were a James Brown fan.
Says, but you don't have. I said, James Brown's there. What you have to do. Here was my gig. Oh, Joe Cocker was on it. That's where we were getting to.
Right.
So that's what.
Fucking love Joe Cocker, by the way.
And Joe Cocker was on. He was so sweet. And he says, here's what you have to do. You have to teach James Brown's band how to play music that's not James Brown's. Like Addicted to Love, Robert Palmer,
right.
like whatever it was.
I heard that song was originally Addicted to Coke.
Could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been.
You're up all night, your heart's fast. I don't know. Anyway, go
Sure.
ahead. Yeah.
It was love of Coke anyway.
Yeah.
So Robert Palmer was also, I loved Robert Palmer.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll do it. So I get there. And he says, you gotta get with Joe Cocker. He's gonna do When a Man Loves a Woman, but we don't know what key. So meet him at the bar. So I'm gonna meeting Joe Cocker at the bar. It's not a good idea.
Why not?
Well, because we got so trashed.
Yeah.
And then there was a piano over there. He says, come on now, let's figure out the key. And we go and sit down.
Sounds perfect to me.
I'm playing. We like 10 scotches to the wind or whatever, and I'm playing When a Man Loves a Woman, and I start in whatever, and he keeps going higher. So he says, next key, higher. I said, how will we know? And he said, well, when it hurts right here, I'll know I'm in the right key.
Right.
And he was beautiful.
Yeah.
Boy, was he ever great, man.
Yeah.
And then everybody did a duet with James Brown, too. And so when it was time for me to rehearse Mr. Brown's band, by the way. He's Mr. Brown.
Oh, really?
And I'm up there, and Macio's being really cool, and Charles Sherrill, who played bass with him for years, has now graduated to being band leader. And he gets a clavinet now, just to play on the clavinet. And so we're playing Addicted to Love, and I got both drummers going. It's a really cool thing happening. Man, this is killing. We got the horn chart going, everything. And then Charles Sherrill stops the band, and he looks out and he says, on the floor, he goes, Mr. Brown wants to speak to you. There's James Brown, all like 5'2" of them standing there, right? And he's got, it's that look where he's got that jumpsuit and a scarf,
He's James Brown.
And his hair is like, just like,
killing.
It looks like my mother in '64, man, teased up, just killing, right? And wraparounds again, and
could you see his eyes?
Could not see his eyes.
Okay.
So in my big, tall 5'9"ness, I have to like lean down towards him.
Yeah.
And he says, "How come you got 2 drummers playing?"
Good question, by the way.
I said,
I mean, I get it.
I said, "'Cause there's 2."
Good answer.
And I said, I didn't want to leave anybody out.
Right.
And and he said, well, I said, Mr. Brown, why do you have 2 drummers? Well, one gets tired, the other one picks it up without missing a beat.
Wow.
He was true to that.
Yeah.
Because he'd worked that band straight through. But we're in a TV show. We're cutting a tune. We're stopping. I said, well, He says, well, you can do that, but not on my music. I said, sir, I have nothing to do with what happens on your music. And I made sure I didn't use the word teach your band. I didn't say I'm here to teach your band how to. No, I said I'm here to run through other people's material with the band, and make sure we're all together.
Yeah, what
he said, okay, you can use the 2 drummers,
okay,
but not on my music. Not on my music,
That's beautiful.
And I had seen him before and didn't realize that was what was going on. Because when you go to see James Brown, what are you doing? You're watching him.
Yeah,
that's the show.
People
He's
are changing.
lit.
He's like, you don't know what's
the
going on,
musicians out.
what they're doing, or why. You're just watching him.
Would he? Is it true that he would find musicians if they made a mistake?
Oh, sure
or
he would.
something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
That's funny.
But he was nice as could be that day.
Yeah.
It was about him. It was an honor, and to see him and Pickett together.
Wasn't he on Conan?
Yeah. He was great. We were rehearsing. We had Danny Ray there too. Danny Ray was the guy. And now the star of the show, Mr. Dynamite, James Brown. He was there.
Yeah.
So we had him in this little rehearsal room, not much bigger than the space we're in. And we're running over that. Such hits as Goodfoot. Bam, hit a chord. Bam. Yeah. And then when he gets to the end, the door opens and there's James Brown. He hears that thing, and he comes. It's like Pavlov's dog. It's like, And I went through that one other time with him. This was a great night of doing the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And Benny King was being honored. So I was the band leader that night. And James Brown was there. And so was Bobby Womack. So was Paul McCartney. So was James Taylor, Brian Wilson, Billy Joel. Shaffer was there as a guest. So I said to Paul, James Brown's going to come up at this point in the show. And we're going, he's helping me still this late. I said, James Brown's going to come up. You think he'll sing? And Paul says, if you hit the chord, the cold sweat chord, he can't help himself.
Right.
So he did. He gets up there. We go, bah! Come here, sister, and he goes, man, and he goes and does it, and he mashed potatoes across the stage, man.
That's genius.
And the only other thing that night, the only other moment that was so amazing to me was at the end of the night.
Oh, man.
Everybody's up there to sing "Stand by Me," and they're pairing off like 3 or 4 to a microphone, and it comes time for Paul McCartney to sing a verse of "Stand By Me."
That's intense.
And he turns around to me and says, John never let me sing this one.
Right.
He's getting away with something.
Yeah.
He's telling me
That's
I'm
funny.
getting away with something, and he's like a 12-year-old kid.
Well, that's the first thing I thought of when you said he was about to sing this. I was like, that was John's jam.
It was.
Yeah.
And he was, but he was so getting away with it.
Yeah.
He was so, he was thrilled.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you could see the love for John Lennon and the respect right there. You could
chills
you just see it like big brothers, not their parents are away,
Yeah.
And there was somebody told me a story that was at working with the Wilburys when they were making the record,
Right.
and at one time Bob says to George, I'm the only songwriter on my records, and you had a band with 3 great songwriters and singers. How did you decide, George, like, what songs you were going to do?
Right.
And George says, without missing a beat, we all knew John's were better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody in that band.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, but, even in all the competitiveness,
yeah,
they all respected him above all. Right. Even though George became the best songwriter.
Yeah,
in the end,
because John is kind of like been my de facto favorite, I guess. But yeah, like when you really analyze it, it's like, I mean, Paul McCartney's songs are crazy, and so are George's. Like, so you think George he became the best?
Well, he did, because outside of the Beatles, he's the best songwriter without a doubt. Because all that stuff they wouldn't record, he had backlogged.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
all things must pass stuff.
I got to record in his studio in England because I was in a band with Danny Harrison and Ben Harper called Fistful of Mercy.
Yes.
So I got to go to his studio and it's like, there's that.
Well, I got to be good friends with Danny. He's a good kid.
Sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, shout out Danny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good.
It's amazing the way the room moves with Danny, though.
Yeah, what do you mean?
The people around him, the support that he has. And we love Danny. And, he would rather be on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that about him.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is enough of this music stuff. Let's go, skateboarding or basketball or something.
Right.
Because it's funny. They came up a different way. He didn't have to come up from nothing doing it, but he's got the talent.
Yeah, he does.
And he's a really good guitar player.
Talent, yeah.
And a good writer.
Great singer.
A great singer.
Yeah.
Great singer. And only, and he got, I think the thing with Jeff Lynne was great. Him, Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, he's doing that tour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
I was following him on the Insta.
And he's always followed his own muse, Mm-hmm. We've done things before. We did some George Harrison shows together. And, and he talks about his dad with such reverence as a player and as a singer, and it's.
Did you ever work with George?
No,
you never did.
I didn't, and I'm sure people that did always say he was just humble.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't. All those guys, though, man. I mean, to a man, all 4 of them are incredible forces.
Yeah.
Even to this day, there's no band like that, and though I love the Stones as much,
me too.
It's like
I'm a big
and the Two.
I love
the Two.
Yeah, I'm a Stones guy.
Yeah,
we could go on forever, but we do have to.
We have to wrap it, don't we?
And coming back to the Beatles and the Fab Faux, when this airs, the next time you will be in town is to support your shows.
Oh yeah,
so
we're doing those. What is it?
Not that you need
the cutting room.
You don't
is
need
it
the
8
promotion.
shows in 7 days or something? Yeah, we'll be at the cutting room, but it's a city winery show, really.
Yeah, they're promoting it there.
Yeah, it's so funny because I've been for 10 years doing. The next day, I do January 1st show.
Oh, okay.
I've been following y'all, and this year I'm doing 2 nights at City Vineyard, January 1st and January 2nd.
Right, that's still happening, right?
Yeah, because it's like the City Winery's closed down, but so
I don't even know if I'll see Shlomo or any
they'll
of
be
those
there
guys.
For yours.
They'll be there.
They come, yeah.
So
the next
but it's cool that we found another way to do it for this year.
He's got to be watching over the beans.
Yeah. So
it's his gig,
I think
really.
It's December 27th.
And Michael, do you think?
29.
I wonder if those.
They'll all come. They'll all come to your show. Yeah, and 2 shows on New Year's, right?
Yeah.
So it's 8 shows.
Yeah,
I think in 7 days, or
something like that. Yeah,
or 7 and 6. I can't remember. 26, 7, 8, 9, 30.
31. Yeah.
31.
7 shows.
30.
And there's jimmyvivino.com, which I know exists.
I think. I don't even know. Is that right? Did you check it for me? Because
your website is cool. It's got your shows listed. Yeah.
At Jimmy V Music too. I guess Instagram and
Facebook,
which I don't use Facebook.
Well, neither do I. I'm like we post on Facebook. I check Instagram. I'm on that.
So now I made a friend today. Okay, you.
Yeah.
I made a friend that I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make friends on Facebook.
No.
Right.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I got too many friends I don't even see or talk to.
Seems you don't have time for Facebook. You're too busy.
Well, I mean, Instagram wastes enough of my time.
We made friends today, but I remember you as a friend anyway, just because when I would do like Conan or something, you were like, you would give like a nod, like
you were there with Ben and Danny, right?
Yeah. You would give a nod and be like, cool. I don't know, like you had a comforting vibe about like, I don't know. You welcomed musicians coming into play.
I like them all.
Yeah,
anybody that's doing something,
what's
with
been
an
like?
instrument.
What's your like? Do you have any standout like moments that you can think of real quick? Well, before we wrap it up, like
standing next to B.B. King, playing
right.
Thrill Is Gone.
Okay,
Al Green.
Damn.
Isaac Hayes.
Okay.
Ruth Brown and Bonnie Raitt. Bonnie Raitt and Little Milton.
Bonnie Raitt's a sweetheart.
Ray Davies.
Oh man,
the best.
Yeah.
Every time Ray and I got to be friends, he wanted me to tour with him at one point, just the 2-man show.
Yeah.
So we used to meet over at
And you never did, huh?
We used to meet at used to be a little bar behind the Beacon Theater. It had a martini, said steaks and chops, and we used to meet over there and I would pump Ray. Ray loved to talk about shit, man. Mm-hmm. So he was cool, man. And then I got to be friends with Dave too. I think that they're the unsung heroes of. I saw them every chance I got when I was a kid.
Unsung heroes of what? Rock and roll?
Yeah, of the British invasion.
I mean, people rate them very highly.
Yeah, they should be rated higher.
Yeah.
They say Beatles, Stones. Do they say Beatles, Stones, Kinks?
No,
they
so
don't.
Much?
They don't.
No, they say Beatles, Stones, Who maybe.
Yeah.
But the Who couldn't get arrested till '68.
Right.
The Kinks were kicking ass, man.
And the Kinks, like with like You Really Got Me and all that, it was like almost like punk rock.
Yeah,
like
it was riffs.
Yeah, the riffs are crazy.
The first thing you hear on that
names.
is Jimmy Page.
Say what?
The riff.
Yeah.
Not the solo. People keep saying it's the solo.
No, it's the riff.
No, Ray and Dave both say. Ray said, I couldn't sing it and play it at the same time.
Right.
In the studio. I was too nervous.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Page plays the rhythm guitar.
Oh.
Dave plays the lead.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
the very first thing you hear from the Kinks is Jimmy Page.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy
Really?
Page?
That's Jimmy Page.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Because Ray says that would have been me live.
Yeah.
I'd be doing that part.
That's crazy. Jimmy
Yeah.
Page.
Yeah. Well, hurdy-gurdy, man. He's on all kinds of great stuff.
Oh, he's on that too?
He's on all kinds of great stuff, man, back then. And John Paul Jones was doing string charts.
I got to play with him recently.
Yeah.
Because he's in Toto Santos a lot. And
Yeah.
so I'm out there a lot with Peter Buck. I got a band going with Peter Buck now.
Yeah.
And John Paul Jones sat in with us last time we sat there.
Well, with those guys,
yeah.
I could talk to Plant or Page all day long about Howlin' Wolf or Muddy Waters and have a real comfortable conversation without what I call the wall. You could, if you start talking about Led Zeppelin to those guys, you can see the bricks going up
Coming up,
right in
yeah.
your face.
Yeah.
You become another one.
Another.
We talk about Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
Talk about Howlin' Wolf, and they're like pulling out cassettes. Page was traveling when he was with Black Crowes with like a cassette player and his blues cassettes, playing stuff for me, going, listen to that, and that and that. And John Paul Jones, on the other hand, loves to talk about,
Zeppelin.
what his role was.
Yeah.
And I'd ask him questions like, what is that synth you're playing on the grunge, And what is that? Oh, it's a Voyetra or something, some kind of an early synthesizer, and he was, he doesn't get the credit either.
Oh, man. Really? Because I think of him as like
everybody says Bonham,
genius.
But
there's like everyone in that band is like
he
just
was
epic.
His work is amazing in that
absolutely.
band.
Oh yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Best bass player.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Townsend recently said some terrible things about Moon.
Really?
Did you read it?
No.
Anyone read it?
No.
You could look it up.
What did he say?
I never liked the way they some crap. He's just stirring up shit. I think he's senile, man. Sorry,
Really?
Pete.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, you can't be dissing Keith Moon.
And Whistle,
Oh,
Come on.
really?
Wow. As a bass player.
Yeah.
That's
Entwistle's
unapproachable.
amazing. Yeah, it is.
Even the way it happens when he taps.
Well, that's a magic band right there.
Yeah, it's a magic band.
I don't know why people would diss it.
Well, the fact is,
Especially
though,
if you were
Pete's
in
the
it.
songwriter.
Yeah.
Roger's the voice, you know, and those two guys are just the rock and roll. Pete's just, you know, Pete's playing the songs, yeah, but what's going on behind him?
Like you said, drum and bass.
And you'd be fired.
Yes,
Anyone else would be fired from a band for playing the way those two guys
I know they were wild, but that worked with them.
Oh, it works great. It's the joyful sound of that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
done,
need a part 2 with you. Yeah, they got to set up the
wrap
room, and we really appreciate you for coming down.
Good luck editing. You don't edit, it's going out live.
Wow, this
was amazing.
Is what it is.
It
I
was
mean,
amazing.
we got to edit out my Starbucks rant because I come off looking like a jerk. No, we won't. We won't edit that
That's a good
out.
way to slide.
We got to leave it all in, warts and all.
That's a good way to slide into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, that was awesome. Thank you for doing this, man.
You.
Yeah.
It went by in a flash.
And thanks for the coffee.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And what you went through to get it.
I mean, I went through hell and back. All right, thanks, Ehud. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Christine.
Thanks, Christine. Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/ComeToWhereI'mFrom. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.